TruthSeekah and or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark's at it!
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff!
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how's it going? This is the TruthSeekah podcast. My name is TruthSeekah. Everybody put on your handy-dandy truth-seeking hats. We're about to get it in. This is going to be a good episode. I'm excited and delighted again to be with you guys and hang out live streaming with the chat. What up, chat? Everybody's already hanging out in the chat. Go ahead and say hello. Let us know that you're here. Everybody listening on the podcasting apps as well. Shout out to you guys. You all rock. You're awesome. Got a good show planned for you guys today, but I can't go any further without saying a huge thank you again to all the Patreon supporters. Everybody supporting my work via Patreon. You guys are the enablers. You guys enable me to do this full time. And so we are listener supported. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Anybody giving at any level, thank you so much. So special shout out to some of the latest patrons we have within the last week or so. I'm going to give a shout out to Jeremy Smith. Thank you for coming on board, brethren, and Robbie Bowen. Shout out to you guys, man, and everybody else who's been giving for months, if not years at this point, riding with me to see this thing through, man. Everybody supporting the music and the podcast and what I bring to the table. Got a lot of interesting stuff lined up for you guys. I'm going to do a special birthday stream. This will be Thursday night instead of the School of the Mystics. I'm going to do a birthday live stream so you guys can hang out with me and buy me a drink if you so desire. So I'll be taking donations and all that kind of stuff, raising money for my birthday and just hanging out. It's going to be candid. I'm going to just talk about whatever. So we're going to do a Q&A, and really nothing is going to be off limits for that interview. So Thursday night, that'll be 8 p.m. Actually, tonight, we're going to be interviewing Jordan Maxwell again. So it's kind of a spur of the moment thing. Jordan Maxwell hit me up and he wants to come back on the show. So we're going to get it in and talk about some of the dark Illuminati stuff. We're going to get that and go in on that. That's what he loves to talk about. We're going to make it happen. So we'll be live again tonight and Thursday night. So hang out with us then. Like I said, if you'd like to support, you get access to my entire discography, 10 plus albums, over 200 songs. You get access to the Thursday Night School of the Mystics and a bunch of other cool stuff that we're doing on the back end. So without further ado, I'm excited for today's show. I'm going to bring on my guest today, Mary Beth Wrenn. How are you, my friend? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me, TruthSeekah. I'm really looking forward to this. Do I call you TruthSeekah? Do I call you your real name? I don't know. I don't want to be like plus the cover or anything.
Either one. Truth is fine, just so you don't have to add those
Truth.
extra syllables to TruthSeekah. Hey, every time you say it. So truth is fine. So we'll get it in. Or Derek. Derek's cool too.
Started. But thank you for having me on your show. This is very awesome. This is actually one of my first podcasts. I do a lot of FM and AM radio dial stuff. So you'll hear me over the video podcast. I may end up saying a caller or
go to the next caller.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to having a great conversation. Of course, I'm checking out your posters back there and thinking, yeah, man, I think we be talking game stuff too.
Yeah, right. I know. I want to talk about it all because I want to get deep. I've got some deep questions that I have written down here for you to get into it. I want to do that. But also, like I said, on a very lighthearted note, we have a shared interest of retro games or just gaming in general. So I want to talk about that. You asked me if I live stream, seeing all the gaming posters and stuff. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit too. Some of the the gaming aspect of the spiritual community and talk about that. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you bring to the table. Just kind of like an introduction about what you do. That'd be a great place to start.
Right on. Well, I am a psychic medium. Actually, my medium is your aura. So what I'm saying to you is I see the energy field around everyone and everything. Now, you don't necessarily need to be alive to have an aura. Yes, an object can have an aura. However, it's not as strong as, say, a person's aura, because a person or an organic object has a soul. So that's the difference between an object and a person. So what I do is when I look at a person's energy field, now this is the weird part. I don't need to see you with my eyes. I get it impressionistically. And so I see colors, images, thought forms, shades, densities, hues, you name it. And then from there, the human person, the human being is, if you will, a broadcaster, and I'm your receiver. So I'll receive the information for which you're subconsciously broadcasting. You're actually creating your own future. And as a psychic medium, what I do is tune in, and I can project forward to see that energy field and bring it back to you in the now. So a lot of times I often say, look, I'll empower you. I see the future to empower you in the now. Now it gets interesting. I can also connect to the other side, because our loved ones on the other side don't have bodies, but they have auras. And I'll tune into that energy field. Now, I started way before the internet was even invented. So when I started out, I told people I was an auric. Do you know how many people thought I sold vacuum cleaners? So I knew I had to change it a little, so I tweaked it to turn it into psychic medium. But I am actually a person who can see the energy field. So that's my way of getting into people's lives, if they allow me. Now, I'm not going to go butting in and saying, hey, I'm at the grocery store. Hey, your life is this. Heck no. My Jersey girl will come out. I mean, I have boundaries. I'm not going to bust yours. So don't be busting mine either. So that's basically what I do. I've been doing this now as a professional for 32 years. That's right, 32 years. I have seen most all. So, I'm kind of used to it. When I'm on the FM and AM radio dial, it depends on the format of the station, but I'll either have questions of when am I going to get laid? When am I going to get paid?
I know, right? It's so funny.
Or if it's Delilah's type of station, then it's romance and finance.
Yeah.
But the most asked questions about your love life and your work. And then, of course, your loved ones. But that's me. And I'm just a normal, everyday person, full-time psychic, and part-time gamer of two consoles. So I can talk Xbox One X and PlayStation 4.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. So you make a distinction there, even on your website. So you say you're a psychic and a medium. Some people may think it's the same thing. What's the difference? Because you do make a distinction between the two.
I do. Well, not all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. A medium is a person who can, well, technically, like the word is, it's midway, middle. Especially, let's use the word for communicating to the other side. Or should I say communicating from the other side? As a person like myself, very sensitive, what I'll do is I'll meditate and I'll expand my awareness. Now, I want you to think about this. When I read as a psychic, I'm thinking more in linear thinking. It's like a self line, past, present, and future, right, left, to write. But when I'm communicating into the other side, I have to expand my energy in a vertical direction. So what a medium does is we raise our energy frequency, so we expand. But those on the other side must concentrate their energy so they come in just a little, not enough to show up as a solid form at the end of your bed, but they can, and it'll probably spook the hell out of you for about 15 seconds. But for we mediums, what we do is we meet them halfway, in the middle, medium, like a media, a kind of a Latin form, MED. But a psychic, on the other hand, can use tools, tarot cards, tea leaves, palmistry. Who's that? What's a fancy word for reading the bumps on your head? But, it starts with a P, but I'm blanked out on it. However, so there is a difference. Most times psychics will talk about primarily future, past lives, that sort of thing. But the medium is where you expand sort of upward. I think of a psychic as expanding horizontally. Past, present, and future, or past life, current life, projected future life. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Somebody says phrenology. Is that the name of the word?
Yeah, I knew it was like
I've never heard that word. Thank you, Chris Garner.
Or an F. Okay, hooked on phonics work for me. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's it.
So how do you think that works? Because I'm a little perplexed myself, because I see in the spirit, I pick up, discernment of spirits, can get around somebody, feel what they're going through, feel what's on them or whatever. I kind of work that way. And I kind of, when I do sessions with people or go out in public, I just kind of talk about how I'm able to go in the spirit realm and just be able to move some things around. Like you're saying, if you can go into their future and pull it into the now, we can go into the dream state, we can go into the ideas and things like that and help them manifest that into the physical reality. Moving things around so you see results instantly, but a lot of that stuff is kind of stuff you have to work out, right? You have to make sure that's what you want, see it through. And I guess you seeing it through at the end of the day proves that's what you want. But how does that work for you? Because like a lot of times I used to we're on hold right now, but I do a psychic show with a friend of mine on Blog Talk. I run the switchboards and take callers, but I dabble a little bit as well. And a lot of people will call in, like you said, and said, hey, am I going to get laid? Hey, is there a spouse out for me? When am I going to find that spouse? Or am I going to get the job? My mind always works in the form of like bringing it into the now. It's like, hey, is this going to happen? And my response is usually, do you want it to happen?
Right.
Like, how bad do you want it? Versus like calling into a show, hey, do your magic. It's a free show, make it happen. It's like, hold on, how bad are you willing to fight for it? Hey, my marriage is in shambles. Are we going to be on the rocks? Or are we going to, well, what do you want? Do you want to salvage it? We can work from there. Right. It's like, what do you want? Right.
Right. What I tell people is reality is what you make it. So you have to be very certain of the choices you make toward your future. All I'm doing is providing you a route for the future. In other words, you can take the interstate or you can take the scenic route. It is up to you. It's called free will and it's your choice. But remember, you have to be absolutely sure what you're asking for and what you're looking for. I wrote a book called Soul's Goals. And it's primarily, the thesis of the book is your life is a direct reflection of your heart's projection. And what I'm saying by that is that what you're creating in your reality starts from your heart. And if you are not centered within a place of love, unconditional love, self-love, and love for others, if you project a doubt, you're going to get people that are mixed messages coming back to you. Because remember, life is a reflection. Relationships are a reflection of you. So whatever you're asking for the future, you must be responsible for the knowledge you receive. And that's not for the reader to decide for you. It's you. So you have to be absolutely certain about what you want. I've had people come to see me that will give me the old mixed message, love me, go away. I want a man, but don't come near me. But I want a man, but I'm like, it's called the big butt syndrome. I'm like, figure it out first and then come see me. because if you're projecting a mixed message, you're going to get a mixed message. Here's the secret to your future. It starts in the now.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And you can actually go in and bring it into the now. We're getting a lot of questions here in the chat, and I'm trying to write some of these down because they're actually really good, and we're going to go back to some of these in a little bit. I like to talk to people about their childhood. Childhood is kind of like a big thing for people. If, you know what I'm saying, trauma happening to them and having paranormal experiences, UFO encounters, a lot of stuff that happens to you when you're little opens up your mind to believe in the things unseen, right? It's countless, right? Did you ever have any encounters when you was a little kid? Were you visited? Did you see a UFO? Were you into supernatural and horror movies that can actually kind of move you into that direction as well? Did you have encounters when you were little?
That is a really great question, and I can make that a novel of an answer. Well, my family's background is the church. So for me to come to tell my mother or my father when he was alive that I could do what I could do, it's like, no, don't say it. So I didn't blossom until I moved out of the, quote, parents' basement. But, well, where do I go with this? I was this Mutual UFO Network state PR director of North Carolina in 1990.
MUFON?
That's right, MUFON, the one. It was at that time based in Texas. And I think it was Walt Andrus was the president at the time. But I had a UFO experience in 1969 and then again in 1991. But the UFO experiences that I had seemed to be psychic experience, meaning you've got to be in the vicinity of me or 4 or 5 feet out for the person to see it. Otherwise, it's the strangest thing. Like I said, it can be just a whole different thing. But growing up, I just thought that seeing auras was normal. So I never spoke about it. And to be honest with you, I thought that to be psychic would be telekinetic. Now, if I could pick up this book and float it across the table with my mind and put it down over here, now that's psychic. But to see auras, that's boring because I do it all the time. I didn't have anything unusual strike me over the head, no lightning bolts, nothing spooky, scary. I just noticed it was my ex-husband who was really into the paranormal, and he would take me, we would go to meetings in New York with John Keel. Now, John Keel is a gentleman who wrote the Mothman prophecies, but he was also in charge of the Fortean Society. Charles Fort was a gentleman who had a club, if you will, in, I'm not sure where he was, but John Keel was New York City. And we would all gather and share stories just like we're doing now. Also, so when I was with Brian, that's my ex-husband's name, he was really into the paranormal. And so I went in kicking and screaming to go see a channeler. Now, I'm telling you, I'm biting my cheek at this point because I'm thinking, okay, this lady off her rocker. So she says that she's channeling Gandhi. Okay. I'm taking it with a
Yeah. Always somebody big and grandiose.
Exactly. So I didn't get anything out of the channeling. However, I noticed that the woman's house where it was being hosted, I love the color of the wall. And I said to the woman, I love that gold paint. And she says, that's not gold. There was no gold paint. It's wood. It was like Brady Bunch motif brown. And I said, no, it was gold. And I discovered then and there, I was seeing the aura so strongly. And by process of elimination, what I did was I developed my language and colors. And I developed, but I didn't have anything that bowled me over. I was not interested in horror movies. I just had a normal everyday childhood. However, when my first job, I worked for the United Methodist Church. So doing readings on Tuesdays was a slight conflict of interest on Wednesday when I was videotaping the deacon. Okay, I was sitting there behind camera praying to God I wasn't busted from the night before. I'm going straight to hell.
Yeah.
No, God has a great sense of humor. So what happened? I followed my intuition and moved south. South of the southeast. Wow. But you know what? I have people down here that are so much more spiritual and so very, very open and very loving. So I couldn't be happier.
What state are you in?
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like you're trying to get away from the, religious people, and you're moving towards them. You're looking for them.
I'm telling you, I was arm wrestling with spirit going, are you sure you want me to move south?
Yeah, I want to go to California, Colorado.
Really? Yeah, it's like, move south. I was like, okay, I will. And the funniest thing was, I moved down here, participated in my first psychic fair on a Sunday, slammed. We were 4 hours wait lines.
Wow.
I never would have believed it if I saw it for myself. But I did have a spooky experience one time. This was before I kind of knew that I was as strong as a psychic medium. But this is why I hid for many years. And I hid under a rock because I was scared of the result. But I'll keep it simple. I'll try to, at least. I went to a psychic fair in Fayetteville, and which we like to call Vietnam around here. Okay, it's the Air Force base down there, or the Army base. So I'm at this psychic fair, and I lay down the cards. I use tarot cards when I'm at psychic fairs, but when the spirit world comes through, I can't read the future if I try. I'm being constantly interrupted. Well, this woman walks in. It's July, mind you. And this woman is dressed up like it's New Year's Eve party night. She's got a black dress, fishnet stockings, high heels, everything. And she beelines right through me. And she says, I want to talk to you. I was like, okay. So I lay out the cards. I'm expecting to let her know about her future, past, present, future bit. All of a sudden, I've got this energy of this man comes around me. And this is what the spirit says to me. I should have killed her when I had the chance. Oh, I'm like, what? So, of course, I didn't want to say that to her. So I say this, ma'am, did you have an altercation with somebody? So I'm trying to make it as nice as possible. And then she points at me and she says, you're talking to him. I'm like, oh, like a headlight, okay? I was like, yeah. She goes, what does he say? I'm like, I finally said, okay, he says he should have killed you when he had the chance.
Wow.
And at this point, she slides back from the table, stands up, shows herself profile to me and says, I don't know if I can use curse words or anything, but she says that SOB missed. And I said, okay, clue to medium in. And she said, I survived a botched murder-suicide. She said, my ex-husband tried to kill her. He missed. She feigned dead. He shot himself. She survived, lost all the weight, built up her self-esteem. And at that point, she wanted to exact revenge on his spirit. And I was so naive and didn't know how to say no, do the psychic defense. There are people, I'll just turn people flat down. If you're using psychic ability for the wrong reason, you're out of here. I'm not dealing with you. So for a good 4 months, I hid because all this woman wanted to do was constantly contact me to just torture the heck out of her spirit of her husband. And I thought, if that is what psychic ability and psychic mediumship is about, I want nothing to do with it. So I literally hid. And finally, through a few miracle experiences, I finally came back, and I'm very comfortable now. If I had that chance to do it over again, although I never want to, I would have much more strength to say, oh, hell no, I am not talking to you. No way. Go call a 900 line. No, not me. Goodbye. So, yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and those kind of experiences early on let you know that something is at work, like something's going on. They can see something that's going on with you. Coming from the church background, have you ever studied like the Christian prophetic movements or anything like that? There's a couple comments in the chat. I think it's Renitha talking about how she was in church and into prophetic worship, maybe, or just prophesying over people, essentially reading their future, telling them, hey, this is going on in your life, let me pull it off of you, like the same type of things that everybody just has different words for.
Right.
I come out of the Christian movement as well and was into the prophetic, and I still kind of keep a lot of terminology and stuff and branch it over, but it's all talking about the same things. Have you looked into that movement at all, or been around, had those conversations versus them being against you, you know?
I've only heard the surface of it. I am by no way a theology major or a religious minister. I'm just not. But I have heard of it. I do find that Christianity and many, all religions seem to lead back to the center of love. So I see God as love.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that in this day and age, it seems like the paranormal metaphysics seem to be as popular critical mass as McDonald's, French fries, Big Mac. Okay, it is just out there. I am thrilled beyond belief to know that there are Christians, that there are people, spiritual people, that are open and loving and not judgmental, and that they can incorporate this spirituality with their beliefs and with their foundation in love, because we need it. It has become almost commonplace, where I get phone calls from parents that are convinced their kids are psychic or see ghosts, are seeing demons, or seeing this and that. And the first thing I like to say is stop watching all those ghost shows and projecting your views onto your kids. Stop. Just stop. That's not fair. So I love that she does that. And I want to find out more about it, because it is there. And I just met a friar who's also very fascinated with working with me as what I do as a psychic. And that's a breath of fresh air too. Keep going. I was told, this was a personal meditation that occurred for me back in 1991. I was told back then that the paranormal and the metaphysics will be as commonplace as, like I said, McDonald's. And I was like, yeah, right. I'll believe that when I see it. And I heard very clearly in my mind, there will be a war on for your mind. Please come from a place of love. Because if there's people out there playing with these types of arts, they do not know what they're doing, it'll keep me and you with job security, because we have to peel the cooties off of people because they're playing with stuff they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So use the Lord's Prayer. It's like a psychic body condom.
Yeah, there's it's just interesting. Like I said, I come from the Christian background and the prophetic movement and stuff, and all of this stuff, man. Speaking in tongues is a big one, you know, and other religions practice that. Other faiths practice speaking in tongues by a different name, and all of it's very similar. The energy when it hits you, there's movements. Do you ever get into the movements? Or you ever to feel energy just hit you and you just kind of, it feels good? Maybe is that like sort from the Holy Spirit, Kundalini energy ever hit you and just kind of refresh you? Do you do that at all?
Yes, it does. The Kundalini with the serpent rising is just that is amazing when it happens. Oftentimes, I call it the body barometer. So when the body reacts to energy, I can pick up on senses of just goosebumps. Sometimes I'll feel it in the gut. Sometimes it's too much on the head. It's a lot of pressure. But most times when I feel like I'm connecting with a person, there's a certain resonance. You're a musician. I do a little bit of music. My father was a classical organist, so I grew up around music. So when something resonates, it harmonizes in the vibrational frequency match. Because when something doesn't harmonize, you'll feel it. It feels wrong. You just rub the cat's fur backwards. Everything doesn't feel right. So there's got to be that flow. Yes, I feel that.
Yeah, it's good too, because there's a phrase from the church. It's like, we don't walk by feelings, we walk by faith. And because you don't always feel great, sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, so you don't always go off of your feelings. But when beautiful spirits are around, angels, the Holy Spirit, God, when you're connected, you can feel it in your body. Like you said, there's energies and you are a transmitter. When you can be in tune, crystals, there's all types of things that help you align with that frequency. The same could be said with evil spirits around, right? Or spirits that are, darker or malicious intent, different things like that. But there's this weird thing too, because we're talking about church a little bit. So there's people who, if there's something different, we understand that a lot of church people, religious people, demonize what they don't understand. And so just getting around somebody and say, oh, you're a what? And they could just hear the term that you're a psychic. And there's comments here. People are like, they go to church, and if they find out that they're psychic, they're done with, right? So just even that, the term psychic, medium, occult, aliens, it automatically makes them feel a certain type of way. And that word will like trigger them, even though it's not bad. For some reason, they feel like, oh, my sense of discernment's going off because I feel a certain type of way by that word. That's a weird place too, where you have to move to a level of maturity that can take a very long time to come out of the religious programming, right?
You are so correct about that. Unfortunately, it's just got such a bum rap about the thing. But then I often counteract with, well, if I'm a psychic that has visions, then what about the person who's called the ministry? Oftentimes I hear them say they had a vision that they were called to ministry.
Yeah.
Hello, same thing. Okay. It's just that it's the connotations to the word and those meanings. I agree with you 100% with that.
Yeah, there's those similarities there when we're talking about that being called to the ministry, or usually having an angelic encounter. We look at, we can look at the Apostle Paul, who had an angelic encounter with Jesus that showed up as a being of light. We look at Paul, we look at Jesus, we look at Joseph Smith, we look at Muhammad, and they all have these angelic encounters. But it's funny because like only theirs is right. No, that's something else. That was a demon. Like I've heard people say, they'll tell you in the text is the angel Michael appeared, and Christians are like, no, that was a demon. Like, hold on, this same type of encounter that you've had, other people are having it outside of your faith, but it's demonized because they have different beliefs, or it just looks different, or sounds different, or they use the word Allah, and the word Allah is just Aramaic or whatever for God. It just means God, So you know what I'm saying? A Christian would even say Allah like it, but they think that's the name of a deity, and just gets really weird with all these schisms and wanting it to sound a certain way, or wanted it presented a certain way. So maybe when you do sessions, do you run into that with people? Because as the studies I'm doing, I'm talking to hypnotherapists and psychics and stuff. And if there's someone who has a strong belief in God, you're going to maybe use the word Jesus, or that Jesus is the safe place for them, versus you do sessions with people who don't believe in God or are hurt by that. So you wouldn't use that terminology because they would be standoffish or whatever. So you have to kind of change the way you speak a little bit. You run into that?
Yeah, you know what? I often think of this as like a double standard. They can only be their way, or it's the highway, et cetera. And that's not an open way of seeing spirituality. I love the old saying that religion was created for those who want to avoid hell. On the other hand, spirituality was created for those who've been there.
Yeah.
I love that description because it makes a lot of sense. I noticed that I do use the word Jesus and God, Christ in my work.
Yeah.
However, I also refer to God as Great Spirit, the One, the Overseer,
Creator.
And it really depends, because people are triggered by the words. But not the intonation, it's the intention behind the words.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's everything. It's all energy. It's what you're putting your attention on. Isn't it interesting how in meditation, kind of ironic, again, it's sort of a conflict, if you will, because you concentrate to relax. Hello. But it's the thought behind it. So take the fuse off the word psychic. Take the detonator switch off the words of God or Christ or what have you, because it's talking about the higher levels of love. of unconditional, non-judgmental, compassionate love. Oh, and yet we stick detonator switches on stuff.
Whenever I'm using that terminology with people, whether it's on my show or whatever, or they're a client, or I'm on, if I have them on my show, the God language, a lot of times you can see the triggers. Their face will change. They'll take it. They'll do little things that maybe they don't even know that they do. For me, that's a point of pain, of trauma. Okay, why don't you like this beautiful Savior of the world named Jesus? Like, who wouldn't love this man, right? Who wouldn't fall in love with this type of person, right? So what is it? And you find out that a lot of times something happened. Their father was a pastor that disowned them, or the church demonized them because they were doing something different. And so a lot of times it actually helps with trying to find their healing, even if they don't want it. You can tailor the session and say, okay, I'm not going to use that word. I'm just going to use this for you. It's like, hold on. Let's explore that a little bit. You really came to me because you want healing. Well, this is something we need to address. And so a lot of times you see those triggers, and they'll manifest. They'll do what we call a bodily manifestation. Sometimes if it gets really deep and you just touch that thing, that sore spot, if I have an open wound and you stick your finger in it, I'm going to jump. Hey, what are you doing? And sometimes you speaking that word, that soul wound, it's a soul wound, right? And if you speak to it, if you touch it, they'll manifest. Like you said, the man came forth and started speaking through the woman, right? Or whatever. Like there's weird manifestations that happen, and they lead to that person, being delivered or getting the healing that they're seeking, even if they don't even tell you. Like, I came to you for a financial breakthrough, but we're dealing with childhood wounds and traumas, and even that could be tied into the financial stuff of what's blocking the flow. Well, the blocking of the flow is in your root chakra, and you're holding on to hurts and offenses, and it's blocking the flow. It's beautiful how it all works, right?
There's an author named Deb Ford, D-E-B, last name is Ford, like a car, F-O-R-D. And she wrote a book called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And I'll say it again, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And she talks about something called shadow work. And what you're describing to me is shadow work. What you're finding is when somebody reacts to a word, that's a trigger point. So in order to heal it, they must own it. And when you own it, you take it upon yourself. Say for example, somebody calls you a bad name. Okay, or somebody calls you lazy, and you're like, oh, I'm not lazy. And the person's a workaholic. But then it turns out in the relationship, they're lazy. So once they own the fact that they're lazy, they can find out the benefits of being lazy, how it's affecting them, and how they can change. You could do the same thing with trigger words, like in the word Jesus or the word God. These open wounds, as long as when they own them, you can heal them. It's like what you can feel, you can heal. Dr. John Gray, Venus and Mars. What you feel, you can heal. And again, these books are, to me, these are shelf life books, like the books that last for thousands of years. The Bible, Sun Tzu, Art of War, so The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. So these are books that if you're really interested in studying this phenomenon, these are books for your shelf.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, is that what kind of coined the phrase shadow work? Is that the original book? Is the one that kind of coined it, or she just covered it?
I think it was Robert Bly who first talked about it. But Deborah Ford brought it into today's work, and Oprah Winfrey picked up on her. So she's got quite a few other books. And of course, I would recommend the Hay House Publishing. Louise Hay, she's got a lot of fantastic authors under her belt. And I remember her from New York when she was selling that tiny little book, Blue and Blue Stripes. And it was just nothing but affirmations of healing your life. And look where she is now. Amazing.
We have a question here from the chat, and I'm just going to play it on the chat, and it came through. Let me
Ever used a Ouija board? How do you protect yourself?
So Andrew, thank you for the donation. He says, ever used a Ouija board? How do you
No.
protect yourself?
Flat out, no. I used it once. That was enough. The Ouija board is not the best tool in the world to connect to the other side because there are no locks on a revolving door. Okay? Not happening. No. You can have other ways to connect to the other side. I recommend, I highly stress, use the Lord's Prayer or use a prayer of protection. Ask for permission to make contact to the other side, maybe with spirits in heaven. Not the low levels. Think of it like this.
Yeah.
The mall. You want to talk to people that are in the Lord and Taylor department store, not the food court. You want to bring your energy up high, if you understand. But no, I'm sorry, I will not.
That's a great analogy, the mall, though, because you walk past the kiosk and there's people trying to grab you. Hey, come here.
Bingo.
Here. Let me show you this. I can make that picture move. I could do this. Hey, come here. Like trying to hold on. I'm mission-minded. I'm going here, and I'm not spending any money. But there's these people trying to pull you in, and almost like the same thing in the spirit world as well, right?
Precisely. You know, when I communicate to the other side, remember, as a medium, I'm raising my energy up. So I'm going through a mall. So I go into the entrance and I hit the food court. No, I don't want to be eating pizza. Thank you very much. No, thank you. I don't want junk food and garbage or what we call in the South, deep fried Twinkies.
Yeah.
We don't want no deep fried Twinkies. We want to go up higher. So I want to reach the anchor stores.
Wow. Yeah.
So Heaven's an anchor stores. So Lord and Taylor, what a perfect name.
And so many things trying to pull for your attention and for your money and all this kind of stuff that you can get caught up. Sometimes it works, though. I mean, if you're doing exploration, sometimes if you go in with that mindset, protect yourself, like, who is my guardian angel? But cover yourself, set that forth, going in with that intention.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. I remember always seeing the massage tables in the mall. I'm like, I'm not finna get a massage in the middle of the mall. One time, this guy, he just finally grabbed me and put his hands on my shoulders, and I was like, okay, I'll give you $10.
I just spoke to a client whose husband, his back has been ruined because he had a massage therapy at one of those $10 massage therapy fellas at the mall. And apparently when this person worked out, that's what happened. Unfortunately, the poor man, he committed suicide because his back pain was so terrible and it was affected by this person. He thinks it went back to the person at the mall. And when you just said that, I just heard that. Yeah, you gotta be so careful. Not just with their own retail malls or their mall rats. You gotta be careful of the mall rats from the other side.
Yeah. Have you seen, he's passed on now, but just watching his videos are so beautiful. A guy named Baba the Cosmic Barber. And he would do haircuts, shaves, but at the same time he's doing massages he's rubbing your face. He's got these crystals. He's pulling your energy. He's pulling it off of you, and he puts it in front. He said, blow it, throw it, get rid of it. And it's just watching it as a form of ASMR where you're like, I can feel it as you're working on this guy. He's in India in this little bitty tent or whatever, or like vehicle, almost looks like a van or something. But those videos are amazing. And have you never heard of him?
Never heard of him.
Baba the Cosmic Barber. He recently passed away, man. But there was a lot of people who found out about him, and they were just filming all of his stuff and putting it online. And
wow.
But it's amazing. But the energy work. So they do the grooming and care or whatever, like shaving and all that kind of stuff, massaging, wash your hair, and it's just deep. You got to watch it. Baba the Cosmic Barber. I'll let everybody check that out after the podcast. Kind of makes sense.
I like to often say that especially to women, what you need them, some people have said this to me. They need their psychic, they need their hairstylist, and of course they need their bartender. Okay? Because not only does the hairstylist, the working around the head where there's a lot of energy going on.
Yeah.
So I could see how this person could do the healing work and also the grooming at the same time. Because if you're walking to a person's energy field around the chakras from the from the throat up, it is powerful. And that's why it's always important for people who work in those fields to psychically protect themselves, because you can end up going to work, having a great day, and then coming home feeling like you're wearing an elephant on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Because you weighed it down. But yeah, I got to get that guy's name from you. I want to look that up.
And I'm going to play a little bit of this, and I'll just show you here. Let me see if we can do this. I don't really do this. I haven't done this live on the podcast, but I'm gonna screen share right quick. And you should be able to hear. We'll just do this for a second, just so I can show.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
So, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if my chat's picking it up though, but you can see it. Okay, great. So let's see. He's just doing a little shave here, just some grooming, and he's check him out.
Oh my God, you feel that?
Look at him.
Yeah.
I can feel it just watching it.
I can feel it when he pulled around this guy's throat and heart. Now he's cracking his third eye.
And he'll do that. He's doing this for this is about 12-minute video. Relax. I actually took him saying, even him saying relax like that, he's like, relax. I took that and put that in one of my songs. At the beginning of one of my songs on my new album, you hear it says, relax. Look at him. I don't know if this is showing up in stream. I don't think it is, but make sure y'all go check this out later.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I know, right? It's good stuff. And he's got a bunch of videos. He's got a bunch of them. Baba the Cosmic Barber. Just type it in. It's called The Greatest Head Massage 8 Extended Version. Baba the Cosmic Barber. He's no longer with us physically. He just passed away. But I was like, because I'm like, it was like one of my goals was like to go see him. But there's other people who've seen that and they're like, okay, let me try to make this my own. So I don't know about how many's in the U.S. doing it, but I think it's something that's going to catch on. Because now, like, I have friends who are like opening up their houses and they're doing energy healing in their houses. I have other friends who have ice cream parlors and they do Reiki and guided meditation in their ice cream parlor. So it's like I have friends who are hairstylists now and they're like, hey, I want to incorporate spirituality with my hair. And I'm like, hey, check out Baba, the Cosmic Barber. And I'm doing sessions with them, just letting them know how they can incorporate that. And so people are starting to add it into everything that they do, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's who they are. Like, how you can't separate it. And why should you?
I used to do that when I would go to get my hair done. And I would hire the woman who was shampooing my head to give a head massage for at least 15 minutes before I got my hair done, because I could feel them, just to clear out my crown chakra.
Yeah.
They never quite understood what I was asking them to do, but I just let them. I said, just wash my hair longer and keep working with the scalp. Don't ask. It's just the thing. And it was. I used to do it on a weekly basis, and it is so awesome. And I do hope that more hairstylists, barbers will do that. It's really effective.
I went some years ago. I went to a sports cuts place, sports cuts, and it just specialized in men's haircuts. It's these women or whatever, and I got a haircut. She's like, "Do you want to wash with your cut? Hot water wash." I was like, "Sure, why not?" I remember when I was a little kid, I used to always get my hair washed when I would get my hair cut. So we go in the back, and they get a really hot towel, put it on my face, and then wash my hair with this almost like essential oil, like peppermint stuff, where it starts tingling your head. And this woman's washing my hair and massaging my head, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm cheating on my wife because this is so euphoric and feels so great. I'm like, Lord, I love it, but I feel like I'm not supposed to. And it's like, oh my God, just massaging your scalp with these essential oils, and it was just amazing. I left. I'm like, I will never speak of this moment. It's just it just felt wrong, but because it felt so good, man. And somebody else, I don't know, but it was good though, right? It's massaging the scalp.
Next time, take your wife with you.
Can she sit right there and watch you? Teach her how to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
So cool.
It's just bliss, and there's no such, bliss is enlightenment. and bliss is joyful, and it should not be shamed. I think that's one of the dumbest things that has ever occurred out there.
Yeah.
Yes, blissful moments are not to be talked about. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, especially with the healer. Like we talked about this a little bit before, and I've covered it a lot, but you can only show them one side of you. Like you can't show them the vulnerable side or the regular side. And I know preachers and spiritualists who only let you see that side so they can keep clients coming in. They're on a pedestal, and if you've seen that they put their pants on one leg on at a time, one leg at a time, it would kill the magic. I thought he just jumps into his pants, and so they only let you see that side. And so I had a really weird thing, because we're talking about gaming. It's been some years now on my old channel, but when Pokemon came out, I started making Pokemon tutorial videos, and I was playing Pokemon with my wife and daughter. That thing was huge, right? And so I started messing with it, and I kept it on my same channel. So you're watching Jordan Maxwell occult videos, and then you get alert how to catch this certain Pokemon. Me and my daughter making a video or whatever, and it just like a lot of people freaked out. They're like, "What is this? I can't believe you're playing this game," and blah 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 blah. And it was really weird for me. I lost a lot of subscribers. It was on my old channel, but it was after that I'm like, okay, like maybe they shouldn't see that side. Maybe they shouldn't know that I'm a regular person. So it was like this long inward search of like, okay, how much do you show? How open and authentic? And I say, you know what? There's power in just being authentic. Like that's where the power is. And there's certain live streams that I want to do and things I want to share, certain sides of me that part of me is like, nah, you don't want to let them see that, but then other sides, what, this is a great idea. I don't want to check myself to be like, well, I can't show them that. I built this thing by being open and honest about everything, about all of it, and it's helping people, right? For being authentic and not holding back feelings, emotions, trials, triumphs, all of it. So that was a big thing for me. Did you ever have a disconnect there with the two?
Yes, in fact, I still often do, but I do believe in things like real is raw. Being raw is real. Raw is real. Keep it in mind. We're no longer staged from a Hollywood perspective. YouTube, the internet is the 25th hour of broadcast. I come from the TV radio world where everything is supposed to be staged.
It's the new TV.
That's right. It's the 25th hour of broadcast. So raw is real. Now, unlike you, I'm 53 years old and I'm a gamer. Yeah. Did you hear that right? Yeah. I'm an Xbox gamer. Also, I play Gears of War.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable Iron Man.
I
play Horde.
Gears of War. Like I have the Gears of War promo stuff from GameStop. They gave me the posters. Like I'm a diehard Gears of War fan. I got the toys. I got the necklaces and everything.
If you ever need a scout, I'm your runner. If you ever need an engineer, I'm your girl. All my cards are up to 10s. I'm racked across the board. We know how to set up those turrets and take those hordes down. But I do Horde. I don't like PvE.
Really? I do. See, that's my thing. There's so much strategy to it. Horde's fun too.
Yeah, but I like the PvE, not the PvP. I don't do the player versus player. But I also like to play a video game called Destiny and Destiny 2, even though that's getting ragged on by everybody, the microtransactions and what have you. But you know why I like it? It's because there's community. Yeah. And 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I went through a vicious divorce. And I needed to find something that I loved, but I didn't want to overspend my money. So I said, well, what was a hobby I did when I was in high school? Now, way before you were born, I used the video game on the arcades, at the arcades, Spaceport. In fact, some of your people out there, if they are gamers and they're like history of games. One of my best friends, oh, look at the bunkos. Oh, I should bring over it. I have all the Seth MacFarlane's.
Oh, you do?
Oh, that's so cute.
I think I have one. No, it's not. It's a Marcus Phoenix. It's a little. Oh, he just dropped his Lancer, but.
Oh, I love it.
Marcus Phoenix.
It's terrific.
Yeah. I haven't been playing lately, But
Yes.
I'm probably going to wait for 5 to come out, and that's usually how I do. The new one will come out, and then I'll get back in it. So,
Well, I have another YouTube channel. I'm still building at this point, but my other name, gamer tag is Coaxial Queen. If you know what a coax cable is, then you'll know what a coaxial cable is, or coax queen. Some of the people out there, especially newbies, will think I'm trying to say coax queen. I'm like, no, it's coax. But long story short, so I like to game Destiny and Destiny 2 because it's community. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was in a place where I was just feeling so down and out. So I joined Destiny, and I met some of the best people out there, and we get together and we raid and we talk. I've even met a mother and he's 14 years old now, but when I met him, he's homeschooled. He suffers from great migraines. He cannot go out because it's just intense. So I know he's psychic, but anyhow, his dream was to be a Navy SEAL. So when we play Destiny, he kicks into the role of being the captain, and I play on the side of like commander, and he'll tell me, "Wrenn, go right, so and so go left," and we will play Prison of Elders, and this kid is just so happy, and it really floats my heart. So I love gaming for the aspect of the community.
Yeah.
Brings people together, and
I've met a lot of new people that way. It's weird too, because like if you're gaming, and if you was to tell somebody, like I met somebody online or somebody that I game with every day,
yes,
and then I've had like conflicts with them where like I did something stupid or whatever, and they're like, they just unfriend you. You're like, I have a hole in my heart now. Like we game every day, and now I don't hear your voice. It really is a sense of community and friendship, and I think that's why it's so big right now, especially like where kids can game and make more money than their parents. You know, there what is like 8-year-olds on like YouTube, like 8-year-old kid unboxing toys and showing them off, and he's like a millionaire, a little like 8-year-old. Like, there's Marcus Phoenix and just there's people making a killing doing that, and but it is coming together behind a community. But this is the same thing. Like I'm meeting so many new people with this interest in spirituality, the paranormal, being open and honest. A lot of people coming out of Christianity, we have this shared common interest, and so we have something in common that we can build upon. So it kind of works same. It's just like looking for community around something. But something's weird though. I've talked about this in the past, is the fact of what we call scenes, right? So you have the gaming scene. When I was coming up, I was into music, into like the hardcore metal scene or the Christian rap scene. I've kind of been in both. The hardcore scene, you would go to shows and you would meet new people. You didn't talk to them, but you would see them at other local underground shows every Friday. What's up, man? I was at the so-and-so show. Yeah, I was at the Metallica show. Whatever. Man, I seen you there. And then every Friday, your friends, you may exchange numbers. You may go get coffee once or twice. But if you, in the same in the church realm, there's a church scene. If you go to church, they hug you. You feel like you have this shared interest in Jesus and the Lord. But if you stop doing any of it, the drug scene. I had friends that was in the drug scene. He's embraced. We're going to roll. We're going to get it in, and we're brothers, and I love you while you're here. But at any time that you stop listening to that music or stop going to those shows, or your faith may waver and you believe some other things, or you stop doing drugs, you're trying to clean up, you're not a member of the scene anymore. You're done. That's a weird thing, right?
Yeah, that is. But remember, you have a passion. Think of yourself like a person who has passion is a matchstick, and you can light the room or light a corner of the room. Think of it like your aura, if you will. It'll light the corner of the room. But when you bring together other matchsticks, other people with the same interests as you are now a bonfire that can light the room and light the world.
Yeah.
So a lot of sense of connectivity and community and bringing people together. And it's a spiritual cause all itself as well. And that's what I would really appreciate about the different games. And that's why I like Destiny. In fact, the Guardian Con was down in Florida for the past 2 years, I think now. And last I checked, I think we raised like $2 million for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, just gaming.
Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, I had a fire team, or a clan, they call them in Destiny. I called it the Golden Age, or the Golden Girl Guardians, but you have to be 50 years or older. Now, it's not many times I find too many Destiny players that are 50 or older, probably because our hands can't handle the controllers. Scuff Gaming will help you, but but yeah, it's so much fun. And going back to, I'm quirky, I'm unique. You don't every day get a psychic medium who can see your aura, see colors, connect to the other side, and talk Star Trek at the same time. I own 2 comic book stores, traveled the United States. I've worked in the science fiction industry for 12 years. I can wallpaper enough tribbles to wallpaper your house and back. What
did you say about the issues? The issues quote?
I used to say I have issues. I have 20,000 back issues. I would specialize in, well, that's when DC and Marvel Comics were separate. And I remember going to comic book conventions when Stan Lee and I and a bunch of other guys would be at the basement of colleges or hotels to do the conventions.
Yeah.
I knew the fellow who started WonderCon back in California, back in the days, or when San Diego Comic-Con was actually a comic book convention. Now it's a media free for all. I used to do cosplay when it was in the closet. Long time ago, I did Doctor Who cosplay. I played Tegan Travanka. She was the Australian stewardess with legs.
Does that look familiar?
Yeah, it does look familiar. And why does that look familiar? I want to say Mass Effect. Where is that coming from?
It's the Dragon Priest mask from Skyrim.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, did you know that they have a new character in there? She's a gamer granny. I was like, yeah, Bethesda, thank you.
So she's in the game?
Yeah, I think they're planning for her for the next.
Well, have you heard the story of the Skyrim gamer granny?
No.
Wow. So there's this old granny lady, and she's like, I don't know how, 70, 80 or whatever, but she plays Skyrim. She plays Skyrim, and she said she likes to play and pick the flowers. Oh. She doesn't fight the monsters. She plays it, and she's like, just because it has the ability to pull you into that world, right? And as far as the graphics now, all of that stuff looks amazing these days, man, right? And this gamer granny plays, and she just goes on and picks flowers and talks to the NPCs and stuff. And they did a whole documentary on her. It was cool.
That's the spirituality of gaming. In fact, my mother is will be 85 years old this year, and she plays Destiny 2. And what she likes to do is beam down, if you will, to the European dead zone and hit the right bumper. So she likes to melee captains, and that's all she can do is just whack that button. Yeah. She also gets a kick out of Assassin's Creed, and she loves Evie Fry from Syndicate, and she plays what she calls paper dolls. So she sits there and changes the uniform of Evie Fry all the time. I'm like, can I have my control back? But yeah, I also love Assassin's Creed.
It's so immersive. Like every time I would rent a game, my wife would just tell me, "Okay, goodbye. He's gonna be a while before you play the game." Because if there was a feature where you can create your character and you can modify everything, like I'm spending 2 hours creating my character. The funny things are when I do that and the game sucks, but the character creation's awesome, and I spend 2 hours creating my character and 5 minutes playing the game. I'm like, okay, this isn't. But the character creation is what is the fun part. Putting your avatar in there and letting them interact with people. And I remember I played the old Nintendo 64 wrestling game, and we used to get really high when I was a teenager, and we'd play, and I created Jesus. And so I got this barefoot Messiah, long beard, long hair, no white pants, and he's whooping everybody's butt, and everybody's like, "Look at Jesus out off the top ropes!" And just the whole character creation thing is just awesome.
Can you imagine an avatar like that in Fortnite?
I know, right?
Oh my God.
That's what they need to do. You can buy the skins, but you can't you can't customize it like that. So that'd be cool.
Have you ever thought about gaming is a form of meditation? You think about it. gaming is also a form of energetic projection. That way you can, if you would like to see in the future, you can create through your avatar so you can become it. So,
Definitely.
you can also create and build your confidence skills through gaming, as long as you don't rage quit. Now, yes, I admit I've rage quit. I've seen that controller fly across the room, not telekinetically. But after I played Leviathan Raid and I've had more people quit on me, I start rage quitting. Because that's when you begin to realize that, especially during games that require teams, this is where you really learn how to be a team player and how to communicate. Also, to know what your patient level is. I think this is one of the best ways to road test future relationships. So if you ever have an interest in a love affair, man or woman, or man, woman, have them game with you. If they just sit there and pout, they're not being communicative to you. So when else are they going to go pout, pouty me? So it's a great way of learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I sense that there's spirituality in games, but it's covered by violence. Here's an example too. So are movies. However, the movie The Matrix has a tremendous amount of spirituality in it. And I ran that
Star Wars.
Absolutely. But I ran that movie, The Matrix, to talk about the zeitgeist of what's going on in the world to my meetup group. And I had more people leave the group because all they saw was the violence.
Fighting, the action. Yeah.
Like, really missed the point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
they're doing that a lot now, even with you have these people, maybe it's with the early days of finding out the Illuminati, and there's an evil cabal that exists and everything is evil. Like when you're trained to see the evil in everything. That's the easy part. The hard part is being able to see the good in everything, right? But you'll see people like that and they demonize, and Christians are good at this, everything, right? The new movie Bird Box, the new movie Bandersnatch, we covered that on here, and really good movies with spiritual metaphors and imagery and stuff within it, and they're just pointing out the evil in it all, when to me I can see the beautiful metaphors in it. Bird Box, blinding yourself, and not beholding evil, and all these kind of things, just these different things. But everything we look at is evil, everything we look at is pagan, everything we look at is occult. And it's if you can do that, I'll tell you where it leads eventually. If you keep following that path, it leads you to be a hermit, to disassociate with friends and family and people who believe differently. I have friends who are the smartest. They're really spiritual as well, but they're keeping it to themselves. They sit at home. They don't talk to anybody. They don't go anywhere because of how delicate their faith is and how wicked the world is. They stay at home and keep it to themselves, and that is not what we're supposed to be doing. And if that's what you find yourself doing with your truth seeking and your research, then it's working against you. It's not supposed to be like that. Well,
you remember, life is an illusion. And that's the Latin form, if you will. If you take it apart, the act of lighting the dark. So life is an illusion. Now, if you buy into the illusion, you're sheeple. But if you look beyond the veil of the mirror, you're going to find that actuality. But it's, again, how you're seeing it. So remember, you always got to come from a place of unconditional love, non-judgmentalism, and see beyond the surface, because those who want to keep in control will always keep you in fear. Remember, the two energies that are in life itself, love and fear, boils down to it. Love and fear. Are you doing this in love? Or are you doing this out of fear? Are you doing this in love, like you love to go to work, do you love your job? Or are you going to work because you fear being broke? Love and fear, two major energies out there. It's the illusion. So, of course, I'm going to go kind of let my sound completely off the deep end, but here goes. In the process of writing one of my books, I got a channeled message that said, the movie Monsters, Inc. is not far from the truth. Remember, much is said in jest. Yeah. And so in this children's movie by Pixar and Walt Disney, here's these monsters farming these kids' fears to feed the nuclear power plants or whatever they were on the other side. That's not too far from the truth. If you keep the mass of people in a place of fear, in a schism and split, then you're going to create really cheap energy. And we humans, when we project off fear, when we're projecting fear, it's cheap energy that can be tapped. You don't know what's sucking from you, but if you can come from a place of love, you're going to be healthier physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, financially, instead of coming from that place of fear. So please look beyond the veil. Don't buy into the illusion, and listen for the real message. Just like you were saying with Bird Box. Do not look with your eyes. Look with your heart. We have eyes on our heart. Spirit told me once, look, the brain thinks, the mind is the heart is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Brain thinks, concentrate. The heart is the mind. Heart is wisdom. Our intuition comes from wisdom. Our intuitive energy comes from the heart. Head thinks. Head is intellectual. It's concentrated.
That's good stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm with it. There's something when it comes together, when those two come together, and then the third, when it comes together with your speech. You can believe something, you can know something within, especially with manifestation, right? Okay, I have this desire that just seems so far away, but then when you start speaking it out and you start making plans and writing it down, you're like pulling it out of the ethers, pulling it out of your heart, creating it as you speak it. So when those three come together, the mind, the heart, and the tongue, like the spoken word, you can create that stuff you want. And so it gets fun, it gets interesting, you know.
That's right. Your head to the heart, your throat, you speak the truth. No coincidence why it's in the three, the Holy Trinity. I mean, turn around. You've got sacred symbols right behind you. Mm-hmm. The three, even the drunful of flower on the wall. There's a three triangle energy in there. The three, body, mind, and spirit. Holy Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The three, it's the Trinity. That's really important. Remember that.
Let me ask you this. There was a question in the chat. Somebody's reading a Sylvia Brown book. Thoughts on her?
I guess neutral. I do. I love her.
Everyone's 30. What she says, everyone's 30 on the other side.
Yeah, I know. I didn't quite take the everyone's 30. I didn't quite take the I think I had read something in one of her books says that spirits wear these gas pack air packs, and they float around in space looking like a guy straight out of $6 Billion Man or $6 Million Man. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Now I'm starting to think she's doing something. But I do like her philosophy with her organization. I want to say Nova Spartus, Nova Spirit, New Spirit. Good. If in choices of psychics that I would, or psychics or mediums I would go to, John Edward would be the first person. Absolutely.
Sylvia Brown, one major thing that stands out to me that she did years ago on Maury or Montel that I didn't really like. I remember she was giving somebody a reading in the audience, and this always stuck with me. And the person said, "Hey, I'm looking for my spouse, and I want to get married, settle down, have kids. What do you see in my future?" And she said this. This is what she said to the woman. She said, your first husband's not going to be the one. Your first husband won't be the one. It'll be your second. For me, I can see how that creates this level of doubt. She said, the second one, that's him. That's your true love. So that's just weird. Like, you get your first husband, and as soon as you fall upon rocky times, which all marriages do, hardships and troubles and all those stuff happens, you're like, okay, there's a way out, because you probably, even if you don't believe it, it's still there. It implants this thought that, okay, what if she was right and my second husband is Mr. Right? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that, I feel like that's a word curse spoken against her marriage, right? Because there's always a way out. There's always going to be this lingering thought, man. How do you feel about that?
When that happens to me, like if I get a vision about somebody's future, love, life, work, whatever, I will tell them what I see, but I always preface this. Reality is what you make it. Also, you have free will. And then somebody says to me, well, do you ever tell news of bad news? And my thing is, I have to feel out the situation. If it is bad news, I will say it like this. Look, if I'm seeing a root canal in your future, get the cavity filled now. Now, if I'm seeing something that might be considered negative, I will, if I feel that the person can handle, I'll say, look, I could be wrong. I could be misinterpreting this. This is what I see. So sure, I might be thinking it's that person when it turns out it's her sister or something like that. That's why it's not 100%. And the person seeking out the future, the knowledge of the future, holds great responsibility. Kind of feel like I'm quoting from Spider-Man right now. But you've got to understand that even though somebody might say something in negative in reference to your relationship, armed with that knowledge about the future, then get into marital counseling now. Okay? Do whatever you can to save that marriage and change that reality. Because that reality may not change, may not occur if you are empowered with the knowledge by taking care of things now.
Yeah, those fears, those fears, like, you don't want to be beat up and bullied. Like, you can do that and just start fearing false evidence appearing real. And you're playing out all these scenarios that you don't want to happen. Like, that happens to me sometimes. What if this happens? How would I react? And you start going down a rabbit hole and you're like, wait, this isn't even real. I'm creating this, but I'm going to position myself in such a way that that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could happen. It's not a reality. It could be if I don't play my cards right. So if I don't want to do that, make sure that I'm safe when I go here, make sure that this happens or whatever. And but not freak out over it, but just kind of make those little changes. It's like, you know, there's cause and reaction. Like, whatever you do has anything in the physical reality has some type of impact in the spiritual world, right? So there's something you can do that there's some things that are hard to be undone or can't be undone as well. So, you know, moving forward, making your decisions in your path, that fear can kind of help you. I think there is a healthy fear at times. You know what I'm saying? A fear not to touch the stove. Well, I don't fear anything. Well, if the stove's hot, don't do it. Or fear of this, and you know what I'm saying? Fear, all of this kind of stuff. So, you know, just kind of make those adjustments moving forward. Healthy fears, you know.
Well, you know, there was a famous case that Sylvia Brown had been a part of, and I think it was the Sean Hornbeck case, where she had told his mother that he was dead, and it turned out that he was actually alive, and he was found 20 some years later. But the devastation of having lost her son and being told that he was dead, she died of a broken heart or died of some kind of condition, but it caused a broken heart. I also work with police departments and work with family members. And I don't normally say that on, you know, I wouldn't take a case on live TV or TV for that matter. I'm so sensitive to the situation. And if I am picking up on, let's say, for example, if I'm hearing a voice from the victim, then if I'm hearing it in my mind, then I know that the victim is possibly crossed over. I will not say that to the family. I will say it to the police. Now, if I'm working with the family, the cops have to know. If I'm working with the cops, the family has to know. If either one of them resist, I'm off the case. I won't touch it. But it comes with such a great responsibility. And I just find sometimes I found her mechanism was a little too callous. And then there's times I'm a little callous, but because I have to be very careful not getting caught up in their emotions, because there are people that use their emotions as weapons. And so what they're doing is they're looking for people to feel sorry for them. And I'm not going to cater to that.
That's big.
No way. I'm not. You're not going to be a reading junkie because I'm not going to let you do it.
Yeah, and there's just, trust me, when I was doing that, you'd have people who called in every week and they thought it was they call so many psychic shows that they don't remember calling in, and they tell you the same thing. They call with the same thing looking for a different result, because all they're looking for is somebody to agree with them so that it's a level of guilt off of them, right? Or they're about to do something bad. They're about to leave their husband and they don't want to feel bad about it. They want somebody to say, okay, yeah, leave them, do it. And they're just calling all these shows or whatever. And you have those people. That's like, they're calling asking for help. And I'm like, I can't help you. Like what I do, I can't. And my friend would give them a reading and she'd try her best to kind of work with the energy or find, but sometimes we're just like, it's hard. You know, it's really hard.
Complete reading junkies. I'll see it too because their energies around their head and around their heart are so fogged up that I feel like I'm looking at I don't know, it's like a bug infestation or something. It's just too cluttered. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not the one for you. And I mean, I'll refer them out to somebody else who can resonate on their level. And I'll know within the first 5 minutes of reading a person if I can't read them.
Yeah.
And I'll write down. I'll just say, no, won't read it.
Yeah.
Here's your money back. I don't want to waste your money. I don't want to waste my time either. So, it's an exchange of energy. Can't do it. I can't do it. But when I see a reading junkie, and I get those at psychic fairs, where they bounce to every single
They're going to every table.
By the time they get to me, if I'm the last person they see, I turn their money flat. I'm like, I can't do it. You have got too many readings. I now am reading your energy and the person who just read you, and the person who read you before that, and the person who read you before that.
You have to kind of work through what that person said, and you can feel it. Like, hold on, now I got to undo what they did or try to agree what they said, and you can feel that stuff going into it. We used to, when I was in the church, right, we used to go to the prophetic meetings, right, and they would have other gatherings Friday, Saturday night. There was a School of the Prophets and School of the Spirit, and they would let different renowned prophets come down from, all around the U.S., and we'd do it on Friday nights. And that was our thing, man, because it was to the supernatural. But we were going to get a reading type deal. And so you felt bad if you didn't get a reading. So they would teach on something really deep in the Bible, or kind of build your faith on how the spirit realm works and all that kind of stuff. And then they would either do an altar call where everybody came to the front who wanted a reading, and we could say that wanted a reading, wanted a transference of energy, needed prayer, or some of them would just go through randomly while they're teaching and call you out. Hey, you got this going on. And we were junkies. We really were. And like, we did it all the time. We were addicted to it, and we're addicted to that ecstasy of God and the Holy Spirit, right? Which is a good thing if you need to get addicted to, if you're moving from unhealthy addictions and you're into something like that, it works out great. A lot of people run the church and they coming off of hard drugs and stuff, and it really works for them. But I did a podcast and I called it How Many Angelic Encounters? How many of these do we need before prophecies or psychics? Like, how many do we need before we embrace that word that came forth and run with it? And I look at the Bible, and I look at these big Muhammad or whatever, Jesus, Paul, they had one encounter, they were changed forever. I'm spoiled. I've had a lot of them. How many more do I want? I'm content. I could just go back over everything that's happened and feel content. But I want more. Deep down, I want to know more. But it's about articulating what I've already received. I would feel like a spoiled brat to just want to keep begging for another encounter, another UFO, another transmission, even though our spirit speaks maybe in a different way. I've heard some pastors talk about how there was a time where God provided for in your life with miracles, and you needed to be led from miracle just to pay your bills. Miracle, miracle, miracle. When it comes to a place where you're supposed to be able to sustain yourself and grow in wisdom and put the knowledge and ingenuity together on how to sustain yourself, which God has given us, versus begging for miracles everywhere, even though they are abundant and they are everywhere. What do you feel about that?
Oh, what comes to mind to me is that person who is not, they're just the reading junkies, but what they've done is they've lost the ability to trust their own intuition. And look, God is as above, so below. As to God's mouth, your ear. You have got to listen to your own intuition and make your decisions, because it's not meant for you to reach out to like a false idol or false whatever outside. Yes, we readers, we healers, we help. We're the training wheels, but eventually those training wheels have got to come off, And you've got to trust that direct connection that you have with God himself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know, for one thing, my mission statement is to empower the person that comes to see me. Okay. That's why I don't like for people to come to see me every single week. No way. Once every 6 months, we're fine. Think of it like a dental checkup. That's great. But if you're constantly going to reader, healer to healer, look, I'm sure God doesn't really want to know if you want to take a right turn or a left turn out of the driveway. You have got to trust your intuition. You've got to trust your gut feeling. And God is talking to you and speaking to you all the time. It's called God winks. There's those miracles. There's those signs. You've got to be at home in your heart to recognize those signs. If you're constantly asking for help, that's like you're now 32 years old and still in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't graduated.
Yeah.
And I don't want any of our reader healers to be enablers. Mm-hmm. If you're enabling a client, you're not helping them. You're basically just their drug dealer. You know? Right. And that's not fair to them or your growth.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what somebody said in the chat too. I think it was Renitha who just say that people like hold back just so they can keep that client coming. They keep that session going and they hold back, and maybe even like the church realm where they just give you enough hope to come back next week to come get some more. They sell you hope. Hey, come back and we'll do it. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But I'm finding now, because in my sessions, I'm just now moving to where I'm starting to kind of shape them in a certain way to find out what works better. I come from the Christian faith healer movement. Let me put my hands on you, cast that demon out, you're changed forever, and you're good. But now I'm just now having some clients where I'm able to kind of book multiple sessions where we get a game plan, see where we can go, and just have it perfectly tailored for you. And it's like phenomenal with the person's growth and what we're going to explore together. And I've actually up to this point, it's always been like one and done. Okay, with this, let's pray. Let's go in and deal with that energy, and you're good. And so I've only did the one service. I don't know if it's because of money or I don't want to have to keep them coming back. But I'm now getting into the place where like we're gonna tap in, but I'm gonna teach you how to walk it out and incorporate it yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And in fact, what you just said too, you said a magic word to me. You're going to teach them. So like think of it like the first reading you do is sort of the wow factor. You're getting them hooked. You're doing the readings. You're seeing the visions. This is great. But if they want to come back within this like 6 month time period, I'm going into teacher mode. I am now going to show you I'm not just going to give you the fish. I'm going to give you the fishing rod and we're going to teach you how to do it yourself. And so that you can learn. And then if the person wants to come back, then you're in constant healer teacher mode and digging deeper and finding out what's going on. But they have to have the courage. And a lot of people like to have their medicine with a spoonful of sugar. So you're that fish is the sugar, if you know the analogy here. But as they go through the healing, they have to do the work. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that get psychic readings who are lazy. They'd rather get it from somebody else than to doing the deep work themselves.
Yeah. Yep. It is a deep work, and it's a daily walk, and you have to be willing to do the work. The weird thing is, I'll say this, and I've been saying it, and this is not a ploy to get you to buy a service or to book a client, but for me as a healer, and I've found out that a lot of people want to do what we're doing. They're healers. They're empathic. They hate their job. How can they move in that direction? So we just got to be open and honest. But I found one of the strongest points of someone finding their healing is the fact that they've paid their hard-earned money to book a session with you, to say, look, I believe you can help me. Even if I don't believe, I'm trying. I'm desperate. Here's however much money for this session. Please help me. Spend some time with me. Teach me. I want to learn. Versus your psychic revolution people who are calling every show, every week, every this, every that. Versus the people who are like, okay, look, I want you to spend some time with me. I believe that you can help me. What is it that I need to do? I'm serious about my mental, physical, and spiritual health. Right? It's a no-brainer. It's like, look, even that, my job is a lot easier now because you really want it. You know, there was somebody at our church years ago who's the music pastor, and he was offering sessions to train people how to play the piano. And my wife got sessions from him. And at the time, he was only charging $12 a session. But for us, $12 was a lot of money back then, right? And so we're like, oh, I wonder why he's charging. He told her, he said, look, it's just because you're putting some value on it. If I just gave it to you, you know, all these other people would show up, but you're putting some type of value on it. So moving forward with that in mind, you're like, wow, that's so true.
That's absolutely right. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The teacher will be compensated, because when people are seeking out knowledge, think of it like a roaming university. And you are the professor, and you're providing that worth and value to that skill set that they innately have that you are now fine tuning. So they may be a piano that's out of tune in the key of K, and you're now bringing them to an A sharp or something, or to a middle C.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is fine tuning what they already have. You're enhancing their own spiritual gifts. So of course, when they're paying you, it's like a college tuition, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then once they graduate, then they succeed. My purpose as well is to always make sure that the student will succeed you. Okay, always reach for higher, because they're going to take your knowledge and bring it in with their knowledge, and take it further. Yeah. So absolutely, it's all about value.
Transference of value. Yeah.
Easier when the student's really, really geared up and ready. Otherwise, if they're just in it for the entertainment purpose, it'll drain you out.
Yeah, so and it moves from not having to convince them too. Like I'm not trying to convince you, and in the chat and everybody who's in my circle, like I'm not trying to convince anybody anything, even my teachings or my belief systems. I come from Christianity, where the goal was to get you to abandon what you believe to believe what I believe. Right. I've given up my right to be right. I don't even care. I'm going to be open and honest. What works for me and what didn't work for me, you know. And so if you apply those teachings, those rules, those principles to your life, it'll save you a lot of heartache. And I'm just going to be open and honest. I may not even be right, but this is what I believe, and this is why I believe it. And there's so much freedom that comes with that, you know? Yeah,
that's so right about that. And it is all about honesty. It is about communication. It's a reading. It's really a two-way street. It's feeding of energy and receiving energy, sending the energy, receiving it. Because you also have to interpret it, and you have to go through your own filters, and then they have to also interpret and go through their own filter as well. I'm a little bit reluctant about people that say that they're a Reiki master and they just learned over the weekend. No, thank you. I don't want a Reiki healing. No.
Been doing it for so long and still learning every time I tap in, you know.
That's right. So yes, that's right. The teacher is always going to be the student as well. But I feel like I'm in the flow with you. I really appreciate the resonance, the energy, but the exchange as well. And,
definitely got time for one more question.
Yes, of course I do.
All right, so I got two here. Let me pick one. So Zadia felt this ring of energy come upon her. I don't know if she was in a session with somebody or watching a video or what, but she said she felt this ring of energy come upon her. She couldn't move, but I think she said it felt good, like it was healing or something. What she wanted to know, what was that?
Was she in a healing session, or was she the healer?
I don't know. Let me, it may take me a second to find this question, but we'll get a little bit, because I'm not sure if she's in chat with us anymore. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if she said she was in a session or not. And
but if she felt the energy, and if I'm understanding right, she felt the energy, but she couldn't move out of the energy, or she was feeling.
Yeah, it like paralyzed her, but I'm pretty sure she said it was like a healing energy.
Yeah, but it's probably her spirit guides and her spirit saying, "Stay still, stay focused on the energy," because we can easily get distracted and get pulled in so many different directions. I know when people say to me, "Well, yes, I spent the weekend at home. I watched movies all night." I'm like, "No, you weren't home. You weren't alone. You need to be where your mind is with you, not distracted by any other means. Even though you're alone and watching the movie, you're not alone." So I sense that the energies, just from my, I guess, intuitive interpretation, is that they were the energies to be, her spirit guardians, healer energies were telling her, stay in the moment, completely in the moment, not distract yourself up, not think about something else, or worry that you're right or wrong. Get the ego out of it. I'm sure people know ego means edging God out, right?
There you go.
Okay.
One more from, I think it's from Rima. She experienced trauma. She was open to her giftings, her ability, psychic ability, healing, and things like that. She experienced trauma that kind of shut it off, and it's been shut off ever since. Is there a way, things you can do, practices to kind of get that flow of energy back going?
Not feeling that she shut it off. I feel like she buried it. So it's still there. One of the ways to feel comfortable with it again, baby steps. And the key word is trust.
Yeah.
You've got to trust. Now, I feel that your intuition was telling you the truth. It's just that our ego side of it wanted to filter it to fit our everyday world. Traumatic, yes. But I'm getting this sense of fear of your own strength. Maybe more or less not the fear of failure, but the fear of success. Because the more successful you are, the more in demand you become, the less freedom you'll get, the more responsibility you'll have. So you've got to be very comfortable with your ability. So I'm hearing the word trust. Baby steps, one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take a first grader and make them read the Encyclopedia Britannica on the first day. You start with ABC building blocks. So easy peasy as you build back. I don't feel like she lost it. I feel she buried it.
Mm-hmm. That happens. And sometimes we get out of sync. We get out of whack, whether it's trauma or things that we do. I think following your intuition, spirit of discernment with your decision making. And I recall just a couple years ago, it was a time I was really moving in the spirit. I mean, we were healing people over the phone overseas, like really crazy stuff. People coming off of drug addiction, people getting feeling back in their legs who weren't able to move their legs because of nerve damage. Just crazy, insane miracles that were happening just because we're stepping out. And there was a concert that came up, the Insane Clown Posse concert. They was doing a tour, and I wanted to go like a reunion thing. I've never seen them. Wanted to get all my friends from high school, nostalgia. Let's go. Started messaging everybody, bought tickets, but I knew I shouldn't do it. Don't do it, you know. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I felt that inward tug, the Holy Spirit, whatever, say, don't do it. And I did it anyway. And as soon as I bought those tickets, there was about a 2-week gap until the concert came. And I was looking forward to the concert, and I couldn't tap in anymore. Like, I knew I was disobeying God, essentially. Like, man, I shouldn't have did this. And and went to the concert, and it was crazy. Crazy as much as you can think it was crazy. It was fun, but sin is always fun for a season. I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. I'm called for greater things, and I disobeyed that voice. And to go to the next level, you got to be able to follow your intuition, and you'll start seeing that the dots connect. But after that, I was in like a several month depression after that, and couldn't tap back in because I did that. It took me a while to regain my bearings after that one thing. Oh, you just went to a concert. You're still spiritual. You could be normal. But yeah, I can. But others may. You may not. Just because somebody else spiritual can do it and be okay. Just because somebody else is spiritual and can have a drink, you can't, because you were an alcoholic and you're going to overindulge in everything that you do. To know thyself and know what makes you tick and know where you can and cannot go or whatever. And so, yeah, you have to really, it's a delicate thing and you have to protect it, man. You'd be sent all out of whack, and there was a reason, you know, and I had to deal with that.
That's so true. Everything about psychic self-defense, trusting your intuition. I've turned down clients flat when I just know that their intention is completely different. I've even done the same thing. I've bought tickets to concerts or movies, and all of a sudden at the last minute, I'm like, nope, don't go. It's like, okay, well, I just lost the money. What I've done, kept my energy strong, and I know that there's another reason. There's just, as I said, pay attention to it and heal. And you are a sensitive person. I mean, there's one thing I'd like to do, and I know I've got a client at 1:00 Eastern time, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I got to jump up. Me too.
Oh, cool. See, we're working. But when I look at your aura field, I see a very compassionate person with you. You're brilliant pink, but I also see the lighting in the background's pink as well. But if I were to see you at an environment where it was just a white wall behind you, I would still say pink. And the reason being is because I feel that you're drawn toward the medical field. You're especially interested in children's well-being. I don't know what this is about a daughter or something. I don't know if you have any children now, but and I do feel that your child is psychic and very sensitive as well. I feel like you'll have songs toward children in the near future. I keep feeling like this poetry or maybe a child's book. So I don't know if you write lyric as well, but I feel like I'm supposed to tell you to write a poetry, a children's book for healing for kids. Maybe these are children who are autistic. But what I'm trying to get at is, as much as you love people, it's sometimes the crowds can overwhelm you. So I like to say to people like this, it's humanity you love, it's the people you can't stand. Just you kind of need that space, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, did I say your birthday's coming up?
Yes, 2 days.
Is that right? So you are still a Capricorn, aren't you?
Yep.
2 days, January 17th?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Aquarius birthday. I'm January 25th. So happy birthday to you coming up.
You too.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is when, God breathed our life into this reality of we call 3-dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep on continuing to carry the message forward of love and helping and healing. I know that when people come to see you, you really do help them see themselves so they can improve the ability to receive love as well as give love, and just keep on paying it forward.
Amen. Thank you so much for that word. I receive it. It's beautiful. You too. You keep doing what you're doing. Go ahead and share your website. Let people know if somebody wants to book a session with you or check out some more of your work. You got a great website. Go ahead and plug that right here at the end of the show.
My name again is Mary Beth Wrenn. It's WRENN. Like the bird who has 2 wings, I'm a bird with 2 N's. WRENN. You can Google me, marybethwrenn.com, or on my website. Or, of course, I did write a book. It's called The Good Morning, play on words. And these are little short stories of people who have had connections to the other side and the positive messages that come from beyond. So it's a picture of an angel, and it's good morning. Think of it like the chicken soup for the soul.
Good stuff. Make sure y'all go check out her website, check out the book, and follow her work, and purchase a session from her. I'm pretty sure she can help you. And that word, I don't know if y'all could feel it, but I definitely could feel the exchange of energy, and I receive it, my friend. Hey, if you're into it, check out Pensacon coming up. Me and my family have tickets to go to Pensacon, so it's not too far from you. It'd be awesome to meet you there or something. So at one of the
Where's
cons.
Pensacon?
Pensacola, Florida.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? Okay, well, yeah, it's not far at all. When's that going to be?
February, sometime mid-February.
Pensacon. Is there a website on it now?
Yeah, Pensacon. They got a lot of names coming. A lot of Walking Dead, a lot of Star Trek, a little bit of everybody. Really, it's going to be
cool.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Pensacon, and then it's a lot of Star Wars stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They got Chewie. I think one of the Chewies is going to be there. Like all kind of.
Like Peter Mayhew and stuff.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
Cool.
Pensacon. I'll check that out.
Have you seen the website Cameo? Cameo.com?
No, but I'm going to go check it out.
There's a bunch of voice actors and musicians and athletes and actors and stuff that will like do promos and stuff for you, or say whatever you want them to say. There's a bunch of voice actors for like the Powerpuff Girls and Tommy from the Rugrats, all those people, and you can pay them like $20, $50 or whatever, and they'll record messages for you. It's really cool. So anyway, I'm not going to hold you up. Thank you again for coming on. We'll have to do this again because I thoroughly enjoyed it, my friend.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, talk to you soon.
Day.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mary Beth Wrenn, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoyed that conversation. We got to get into some gaming stuff too, right? coming to grips with who you really are. You know what I'm saying? Every aspect of it, what you bring to the table, and embodying it, man. Not trying to act like it's not there. That was big for me, and I sense it's big for a lot of you guys. And I still get it. Like, it's something you still have to do. Like, I'm gonna do a live stream for my birthday. This is 2 days from now, Thursday night, and I'm gonna be hanging out, having a couple drinks with the chat, man. So taking donations and stuff. So y'all hang out with me then. Even that, I was like, hold on, alcohol. Well, not everybody's into alcohol. Are you going to enable people because they see you drinking and all of this kind of stuff? Like, there's a healthy way to do it. You start trying to discern everything and what if you should do it moving forward. Part of you wants to, part of you don't. But, you know, it's about showing people every side of you. And then, like, that's a part of being in the light. Because you're not hiding nothing. You don't have anything to hide. That's the thing. Not having anything to hide. Just being yourself, open and honest. That's what it's about. Renita says she'll have a drink with me. Santiago says, is the stream going to be elsewhere or at home? It's going to be here. Me and you guys. And I'll try to raise some money for my birthday, so it'll be like donate for a shot or something like that. I seen somebody else do it and it was really funny. It was really cool. And I'm just going to hang out. And, you know, we call it Truth Serum too, man. Maybe I'll talk about stuff that I don't usually talk about. So, my birthday, January the 17th, celebrate with me here on YouTube. And I'm going to be hanging out 8:00. The show is already created, and I have friends. I'm reading in the chat. Danny says, I'll drink with you in spirit. Some people don't drink. Some people smoke marijuana and they don't drink. So whatever you do, let's hang out. You know, I don't smoke marijuana. I can't. It messes with my body. If y'all haven't watched that video where I went into a lot of detail about what marijuana does to me, it makes me paranoid. Maybe I'll talk about it for my birthday. But there's going to be no holds bars, man. I'm going to be candid. Ask whatever you want. Those weird questions, I don't care what they are. Thursday is going to be the day to get it in. Get me 2 shots in and ask me anything. There's no telling. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to go. I may have to delete it right when it's done, but I'm excited about it. I made my own, like the whole aesthetic of my podcast. Everything's going to look different. There's a new intro song, all this kind of stuff. It's going to be fun though. So Ali says, is Aaron going to be with you? I don't know. Maybe. I'm okay with drinking on the stream, just trying to get into that. Maybe she'll hang out with me, ask some questions. I don't know. Maybe. Ask her. But not sure about that. But we probably will do something for Valentine's together. So she's off on Valentine's. We'll probably do a Valentine stream together. So yeah, man. I really enjoyed this podcast. That lady was really cool. Make sure y'all check out her stuff. I have so many notes and so many things I want to get into, but I have an appointment here coming up. But one thing I want to share, we kind of mentioned tongues and the interpretation of tongues. And a quick story I'll share. I remember this lady in those prophetic movements that we used to go to. When people would speak in tongues, she would be able to understand what they were saying. And they were speaking in a foreign language or gibberish, whatever it was, a heavenly language, I don't know. But she would speak things, they would speak stuff, and she would automatically know what they were saying. It's called tongues and interpretation of tongues. And biblically speaking, you're not supposed to speak in tongues without an interpreter, right? As far as in public, you have your prayer language to keep it. The Bible says to keep it to yourself if there's not an interpreter there. But she's gonna she would hear those languages and be able to interpret it. So much so that she thought everybody could interpret it. Right? She thought everybody knew it because it was so natural, right? And that's how you feel. You feel like everybody can do this. Everybody can feel it, or everybody knows what I know. I have a problem with that. I just assume everybody knows what I know, like common knowledge. And I just start teaching even on the simplicities of stuff. And it just like blows people away. We don't have to be so deep. We could just teach on the simplicities, and the simplicities are deep as well. So she would hear those tongues and she would be able to interpret it. And it was so funny the first time somebody said, we don't know what these people are saying, right? And she was blown away. This was a little Chinese lady, and she was just blown away. But it's the spiritual ability or whatever called glossalia in every religion practices, where you go into trance and you start chanting and saying different mantras and saying things, and you may take over your body. There's levels to that. This is something deep to explore, and I'm still exploring. There's levels to that. I do it. I speak in tongues. I can do it on command, essentially. But there's a certain another tongue that the Bible talks about, how the Spirit makes intercession for us with groanings and utterances that is hard to even pronounce. You can get into travailing in the Spirit, and I've seen people screaming. I've seen people singing in tongues, all of this kind of stuff. But there's a place that I can go in the Spirit. I'm still exploring it because it's not on command. There's like preparation. There's a place you go where this other tongue comes forth. And to me, and I'll just be open, it sounds like an old Indian. It sounds like an old Native American. It comes forth. It speaks with power and authority. Usually it's dealing with deliverance, and the person who I'm doing work on or whatever immediately fall under the power of God, and whatever they're dealing with, this voice speaks through me, and that thing leaves. And I've seen it happen on many occasions. I feel beautiful when it happens, but I don't. It's a different sound that comes forth. Lately, in some of my sessions, I've tried this in the past, and it's worked for me in my own prayer language, writing down those syllables. Someone saying channeling. Is it channeling the Holy Spirit? Is it channeling my ancestors speaking through me? Is it my true nature speaking forth, the angelic, the me that existed before here that knows what's going on? I don't honestly know. I think it may be a little bit in between. Aaron Fowler says clairaudience, but it will speak through me with a voice, with authority and power. I've been writing down these syllables that come through, and I'm saying this for you guys. If you do this, to try it, write down the syllables. It's blowing my mind, because essentially I'm taking that prayer language, writing them down, and pasting them in Google Translate. And then it's coming back that I'm speaking in Filipino. And they're phrases. Google, without having to change anything. You may have to mess with the spelling, whether it's one word or whether it's usually the as far as syllables. Even in Sanskrit, it could be Ra, Ma, Da, Sa. It's a lot of just two syllables. But I tried it, man. And I'm saying, okay, who is speaking through me? What is my guardian angel? What is it? And I remember driving my truck when I was working. I kept saying Makateo, Makateo, Makateo. And even now I can feel the energy when I say that. Makateo. What is that? Is this random gibberish? I looked it up. It said, we are the ones who are for humanity. Makateo or Makatao. Makatao. I looked it up. The avatar, the chief Indian type guy who was in Avatar, his name was Makatao, spelt the same exact way. I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I started writing down some of the other stuff, and these syllables put together meant something in other languages. It was deep. I just did a session with a brother the other day. I won't say his name, but there were some other words that came forth that I wrote down. And I'm exploring this with him as a client. And whether it's spirit guides, whether it's guardian angels, whether it's your true name, I don't know, but just started like asking for that assistance. Makateo, who are you? Let me see you. And asking through God, right? God, if this is my guardian angel, your father who knows everything. If you ask for a fish, he won't give you a serpent. If you ask for a loaf of bread, he won't give you a stone, right? And start this awe and wonder to explore. And I started getting other names for other people, whether it's to help them find their guardian angel or to find their spirit guide, but other words, man, and they all mean similar things. It's usually something we are for humanity. One phrase that came out the other day was, I demand candles. We were going in together, and the phrase that came through, I've got the phrases written down, and I looked it up. It says, I demand candles. And I said, look, on our next session, if you're free to explore, we're going to bring candles with us in this next session of going in and journeying together. And I'm still learning. This isn't a pattern. Like, a lot of this stuff is new and we're learning together, but it's so beautiful, man. And you feel it, and you're just tears, and you're just in that zone, and you feel healing coming from it, man. This stuff gets really interesting. Really interesting. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to jump off of here. Try that. If you have that prayer language, if you go in and words and syllables start coming, man, I remember chanting Om with a friend. We're playing the djembe. We're just doing Om, Om. And that voice came through with the Oms. Om Nagahaga Nahayawe. Om Nagahaga Nahayawe. And I just went into trance, and the song started coming out, man. And it was beautiful. Even saying it brings me back. It's beautiful. You have to be careful with everything, but we don't stifle exploration. We do not. So moving forward, man, things are getting really interesting, and it's time to embrace our truth and the things that God has given to us, the tools that we have here. Take it, run with it, explore it. With that, I bless you in the name of the Lord. I really enjoyed this podcast, y'all. We'll do it again. I got another episode tonight with Jordan Maxwell. And then Thursday night will be my birthday stream. It's going to be fun. I'll see you guys there. And thank you guys in the chat. I'm reading the chat as we're talking here. Shout out to everybody holding us down. So many names right now. But shout out, many blessings to everyone. And we'll do it Thursday night. And I'm ready to get it in, y'all. Shalom and peace. Chris Garner is asking if I'm going to open up the phone lines. Maybe. I might. Thinking about it. Things could get weird. I might do it, though. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. Love y'all. Bless.
Your way so much higher than mine. So much higher than mine. So much deeper than mine. So much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.